Hello, good morning. It's just 7:46 a.m. today, Friday. So, first ever vlog content na magsasalita ako and all. Um, just trying to give some tips here for practical mommies. So, if you want tipid tips, ito naman hindi ako expert, so wag mag-bash, please. Galing lang to sa mga napanood ko sa YouTube videos, yung mga inspirational talks, mga articles na nababasa ko everywhere, and sa mga blog contents din. So I just want to share it to you because I'm sure marami tayong matututunan, and I'm starting to apply all of these tips kasi I'm exploring the road to a minimalist lifestyle. Mga realizations ngayong pandemic na we just need the basics. We can live with just the basics. No need for luxury or unnecessary items that will just clutter your house, clutter your mind. So, but it's not bad to treat yourself every once in a while. I'm just saying na, this pandemic, I realized na mas marami pang importanteng bagay and simple things can make us happy. So, let's start. So, my first tip to practical mommies out there, especially those who have credit cards, is to pay it always on time, kung maaari before the due date, and in full amount due. So, hindi lang yung minimum due, yung total amount due so that you can avoid, interest, finance charges. Ayan, ano siya? Not a new one, not a new tip, pero ano kasi yun malaking bagay na we are handling our finances well, especially with credit cards. Kasi yun yung, kumbaga parang makakapag-start ng good financial behavior natin or good financial practice. So do not use your credit cards on wants, but rather on your needs or big ticket items like yung mga appliances, yung something that you cannot buy with cash, or even if you can buy in full cash, you'd rather not to. Kasi of course you would have to save up or set aside something for emergencies then, di ba? So, and also, do not go over your credit limit if possible. Do not max out your credit limit. Always make allowances for emergencies. Like, for example, if you biglaang hospitalization or sickness of family members, at least you would have, something that you can buy, medicines, yung mga needs, yung mga, bills na, basta yung mga ganong, not necessary, yung mga ganong unforeseen instances na wala kang instant cash na malalabas. So, credit cards, maganda siya, magagamitin mo siya as good debt. You can manage it, not as bad debt. Meaning, you will just use it for splurging, shopping, sprees, and then babayad ka lang ng minimum due, which will pile up your interest rates. So, alam niyo na yan siguro, yung mga mommies na may credit cards. And then my second tip is, you do not get savings by buying discounted items. Always take note that savings is money taken aside. So, what do I mean? So, for example, there is a 50% sale sa isang signature bag na nakita mo sa mall. And it was priced originally for 3,000. But diba, 50% off, so 1,500 na lang. So, the usual marketing line is you are saving 1,500 or you're saving 50% of the price, which is not true. You didn't save 1,500, you spent 1,500. So you know what I mean? Savings is not, what you saved on a discounted item, but is the actual money taken aside. So, Third tip naman na nabasa ko is, of course, alam na natin lahat to, pero hindi pa rin natin mapigilan, is to avoid impulse buying. So, di ba, yung mga sales sa Lazada, sa Shopee, yung mga ganyan. A lot of times, it only creates clutter in your house. So, in your realization for this pandemic, yung nag-declutter ako, there are a lot of items na I really don't need, but I just bought on impulse. Kasi cute, baka magamit, baka, di ba? The word baka, so you're not sure if magagamit mo talaga siya. So, for example, when I do grocery, I make a list and I try as much as possible to stick to it. And so far, good job naman ako doon. And if you have to buy something, check if it's useful and if you will use it right away or if it's worth it. So how will you know if it's worth it? So meron akong napakinggan or napanood, sa TED Talks na she's saying that you can weigh if something is worth it relative to how much you earn. So, for example, of course, you have to identify muna how much you were earning per day. So, for example, you were earning or you have a take-home pay of 30,000 a month. So, that is 1,000 a day, di ba? Kasi 30,000 yung take-home mo divided by 30 days, 1,000 a day. So, for example, as a mall ka ulit, or you are shopping online and you are eyeing a shoes worth 2,000 pesos. So, that means you'll have to work 2 full days in order to buy or to afford that shoes. So you have to think about it. Is it worth your 2 days worth of effort and work for a single pair of that shoes? So if it's worth it for you, then go for it, buy it. But if it's not, or if you are parang hesitant, if you're still thinking about it, so do not buy it yet. Medyo, do not buy it, diba? Or you can buy a cheaper one, which is, let's say, half worth of your day's work. Parang ganon. So, something that I learned about. So, it's actually relative to each person because each of us has, of course, different take-home pay or different salaries. So, yun lang yung magiging problema doon. Let's say you are earning a lot na. Tendency is you will be matching your salary rate or your salary income to how much you can spend, which is incorrect. So, hindi ko pa siya napakita. Basta isang financial guru or isang financial advisor, one of them says that the problem with people who are earning a lot is that once they earn a lot, once their salary become higher, their expenses also becomes higher. So, wala pa rin savings, diba? Kaya nagtataka sila, bakit gano'n? Ang laki na ng sweldo ko, or tumaas naman yung sweldo ko, pero wala akong nasa-save. Kasi nga, tumataas din yung gastos mo. So, dapat, hindi magbabago yung rate of expense mo before tumaas yung salary mo. Kung gusto mo talaga, kung seryoso ka talaga makapag-save. Okay? So, yung fourth tip ko naman is, if possible, avoid cooking too much food and having leftovers. So, bakit? Kasi wasted food equals money wasted. Diba? So, syempre, depende naman to kasi sa size ng family mo. If you have a big family, it's really difficult to parang estimate, diba? How much you could consume. Pero if small family lang kayo, let's say, for example, kami, tatlo lang kami sa bahay. So, usually, wala kaming tira the next day. Or kung meron man, very minimal. So as much as possible, you avoid wasting food, diba? Or you avoid cooking too much food. And then fifth tip ko naman is, not all financial tips are applicable to everyone. So I've read an interesting post in FB before where it explains something about the reality of gap between the poor and rich people. So there's an inequality around when it comes to ano bang tawag doon? Parang law of diminishing something, economics. Basta parang gano'n. Explain ko kung paano yun. So, again, not all financial tips are applicable to everyone. So, bakit? You cannot allow or you cannot follow a tip saying, let's say, to invest on quality shoes. Take note, I quote and unquote invest, di ba? You cannot follow a tip saying to invest on quality shoes unless you can afford it. So let's say we have family one. Let's say family one is poor or relatively poor compared to family two. They are just earning 500 a day. So they would have to settle in buying a 500 peso worth of okay shoes rather than investing on a 2,000 quality shoes, which family two can afford. Gets niyo yan? Kasi yung family one, yung financial tip to invest in quality goods, although it's expensive, will not be applicable to family one kasi they're only earning 500 a day. Of course, they would have to settle their income or they have to set aside their income for other most important things like food, bills, diba? So yung family two, because they are richer, they can afford to invest, again, I quote and I quote, invest on a 2,000 quality shoes because they have extra money, diba, to buy it. So in the long term, how is it unequal aside from the unequal pala? Sorry, how is it unequal aside from the discrepancy, or not discrepancy, aside from the difference of the price of the shoes? In the long term, maybe the poor family or family one may have to buy a new shoes again every quarter, which would easily add up to 2,000 a year spent on shoes. So kung 500 yung kaya lang nila i-afford, and then every quarter, bumibili sila ng shoes kasi nga it's not quality enough or it's not good enough. It is easily tore or wear and tear, di ba? So it would easily add up to 500 times 4 a year. 4 times a year na they will buy is 2,000. So parang pareho lang sila nung nagastos no family 2. Pero family 2 bought the 2,000 quality shoes one time, and then they can use it pa for several years to come. Kasi nga, matibay quality shoes nga, di ba? So, parang there's hindi naman unfair, pero there's an inequality or there's inequality gap between the rich and the poor people in terms of economic of diminishing returns. Nakalimutan ko yung tawag dun sa law. Basta diminishing something. Kasi nga, si poor people, si family one, si poor family ends up in spending 2,000 as well in a year. Tapos parang ang lalabas, mas nakasave pa si family 2 kasi nga, although 2,000 yung binayaran niya one time, gagamit niya yung shoes for several years kasi nga it's quality. So parang, di ba, merong parang unfair. Pero, yun nga, kasi not all financial tips are applicable to everyone. It would depend on how much you can and you cannot afford. Ayun. Tapos, related to that tip, you do not necessarily have to always buy in bulk to get savings unless you have a big family or you can afford it nga. So, although mas tipid na bumili ka in bulk, pero kung nasa lower income gap, nasa lower income rate ka naman, and you just live, let's say, with 2 other people in the house. So parang it's not really practical to buy something in bulk na one time, big time ka maglalabas ng malaking money. Pero, di ba, ang tagal-tagal niya bago maubos yon. So parang it's not really practical. Although makakatipid ka kasi nga in bulk siya. It's just applicable to a big family and to something that earns extra. Parang gano'n yan. I think you get it. Ayan. And then, my tip number 6 is to start decluttering your house. So if you haven't done so, sorry kasi may dumadang tricycle malapit kasi kami sa daan. Anyway, ayan. So start decluttering your house if you haven't done so this pandemic. Yun yung ginagawa, or yun yung ginawa ng mga tao, di ba? Declutter their house, and then get rid of the things na hindi mo na ginagamit, or di ba, if you could donate it, if you can sell it. You may never know what you can find as well that may still be useful. And the relief diba? Or joy to know that you don't have to buy another one kasi nga meron ka palang nakatagong something all this time sa bahay niyo na hindi mo alam, pero bumili ka pa nun, diba? So, ayun, parang something na gano'n. You may also, yun nga, sell it, donate it. You would like yung mga bagay or yung mga, especially yung mga damit na you are no longer using and is sitting in your closet for several years. Like, for example, if you have a pair of jeans that you can't let go because it's so good, it's so nice, pero you are using it since college ka pa yata, and parang you're hoping that it will still fit you one of these days or someday, diba? No, let go of it na. Or better yet, donate it or give it to someone who can use it. Kasi, it's taking up space in your closet, and it's cluttering your house. It's creating a lot of stress kasi parang hindi naman nape-pressure, pero parang kasi basta you have to let go of the things that you're no longer using. The saying, someone's trash is someone's treasure. So, meron kang mga gamit sa bahay na hindi mo na ginagamit or gusto mo nang dispatchahin. Maybe you could find a person or you can post it online na you can barter it with somebody who have something that you're looking for. So, parang ganon. And of course, you have to learn, sabi ko nga, you have to learn to let go of the things that's only taking up in your house or closet. Kasi nga, it will lighten your load and it will remove unnecessary stress in your life, which I have experienced after decluttering my closet and our house. You could use extra space for something more useful and practical, or let's say sa bahay, merong parang corner na ginawa nyo ng bodega, diba? You can start decluttering that one. That's a good way of creating your own personal happy corner, let's say for the stressing, mga coffee corner. Maybe you can buy an aquarium and put fish in it, diba? Para ma-distress ka since lagi tayo nasa loob ng bahay, something like that. And then, last tip na ba to? Ayan, last tip ko. Sanay na kayo sa background noise ko. So, last tip ko is spend what you can only afford. Diba? It's a cliche, pero a lot of us still do not apply it. Kasi what will you end up doing if you are spending what you cannot afford, or if you are spending money that is not yet in your hands? Yun nga, yung pag-splurge using credit cards. You are ending up borrowing money, or you will end up borrowing money to pay up for something that you also borrowed. So parang it's a cycle of never-ending borrowing or loaning. Diba? So avoid borrowing money as much as possible, except of course yung mga big-ticket items like yung for the house, for a car, diba? Syempre, it's more practical to get a loan and pay for amortization for that, but rather than spending it in cash, unless nga, diba, you're a millionaire or marami kang extra cash. So, believe me, you will sleep a lot better at night knowing you do not owe anything to anyone. And same thing, do not loan money to other people, especially if that person has a bad rep of not paying back and have a history of habitual borrowing. So that only means na kung ganun yung behavior nila, they do not know how to handle money and they are spending more than they can afford. So you don't have to suffer because of their bad spending habits. This also saves relationships, believe me. So, if wala ka naman extra cash, or kahit may extra cash ka, you don't need to feed your friend's habit of borrowing. Kasi it will depend on you, and kapag hindi mo na siya pinahiram, you will end up being the bad person pa, di ba? Which is, di ba? Parang, ano yun? So, huwag ka na lang magpahiram as much as possible, di ba? Ayun. So far, yun yung practical mommy tipid tips ko sa inyo. financial tips na rin at the same time. So I'm getting it from financial vlogs that I always watch. Sila Chinkitan, Robert Kiyosaki, and other financial gurus that I really don't know about, pero natitisod ko lang sa YouTube, yung mga TED Talk, something like that, mga articles na explore ko online. I also joined FB groups of yun nga, how to save money, yung mga financial tips. Kasi I'm a business admin graduate, although hindi naman talaga ako, expert when it comes to those things. Pero in my own little way, I try to handle my finances and make sure na nakakasave ako kahit paano for the future and at the same time for emergencies, diba? So, ayun, sana natutunan kayo mga moms. And if you like my first ever video content, kahit yun yung background ko, please subscribe, support our channel, and please hit the like button below. Ayan. Thank you. Bye-bye.